Right before Christmas, I had a client that canceled both SEO and paid search contract. Now, specifically for this client, we delivered roughly 60% increase in sales year over year. So it wasn't a performance issue. I'd be lying if I said that it didn't stink, but what I caught myself thinking is I've dealt with this way better than I did early on in my career of running a marketing agency for past 18 years. I thought, like my good friend Don Draper said, the day you sign the client is the day you start to lose them. So I decided to create this video. It's not a rant, it's more of a guide on how to lose a client proper way. Starts from risk assessment to building battle chest and what to do after. Before we talk about what we do after we lose the client, we need to talk about what to do before. And step one, what I want to talk about is risk assessment. When we work with clients, even on the proposal stage, we create a long list of risks and risk mitigation strategies. Those can vary from macro risks like economy or Google rolling out new update that we don't have a lot of control over, but we want the client to be aware of them, to more of a micro risk where we say, if you're going to be proofing our content way too long, it's going to prevent us from doing our job. And that's, again, in an effort to give a realistic picture to our clients so they know what to expect. Now, if we do it for our clients, we should definitely do it for ourselves. When I look at my business, I don't want to be an ostrich that puts their head in the sand. By the way, I don't think that's true. I think it's a myth, but it's a great illustration point. What I want to do is I want to face those risks face on and build strategies to mitigate them instead of just worrying. This can be a boring work a lot of times, but boring work keeps you alive. The first obvious risk is financial risk. And what I want to think about here is I have to build a buffer, not just revenue. What do I mean by that? When clients have a great month, I usually tell them to stay even keeled. Not every month is going to be like that. It's the same about the bad months. But when the times are good, you have to save money and put them somewhere where they're still working for you, but they're liquid and easily accessible. I call it a battle chest. Me, for example, when COVID hit and I had to pay my staff for 6 months with barely any revenue coming in, I had to tap into my battle chest. Sometimes you use battle chest to acquire stuff or to fight any other problems. But the point is, if you have the runway, then you have the time to make up for the lost revenue. The second part in this risk assessment is client size. And this is a little bit counterintuitive because you think as an agency or the service business, you can land this big whale over clients. So of course, this is a great thing. This is the best thing that can happen to your business. But there is kind of a rule of thumb that you shouldn't be taking any one client that is more than 10 to 15% of your overall revenue. The idea is if client leaving can break your business, then the problem started way before they send that cancellation note. Now, this sounds all good in theory, but in reality, it is very hard to say no to opportunity. When you have an opportunity to sell a big client, most people will jump on it, and we did it before. But what you need to keep in mind is once you sign it, your risk exposure goes higher. So you need a risk mitigation strategy. And what we came up with, which is, again, obvious, if you sign a big client, it's good to celebrate, but don't be celebrating for too long. What you need to do is go out there and sell the same size of clients. So on average, all of a sudden, this first big whale is not more than 15%. If you don't go out and sell more clients, you are putting yourself at risk. The third part is ideal client profile, ICP for short. The size is only part of it. We also want to look at how do they communicate? What kind of expectation do they have? Is their business model sound? Do they have money to pay us? A whole bunch of things. And here again, it can be counterintuitive, especially if you're in a cash crunch and you have this client or prospect that's kind of available. You know deep in your heart that they're not ideal client profile, but you need money and you want to sign them. I learned it a hard way throughout the 18 years. You're better off and more profitable not signing them. It's better to say no to a business that is not in your wheelhouse, or you know they're gonna cancel, there are red flags in the beginning, you don't spend time onboarding and investing in understanding their business model, well, you know from the beginning what's gonna happen. So again, it's very hard when you're in a cash crunch, but stick to your guns, stick to your ideal client profile. Finally, about what to do before you lose a client is what I call sales cures all. And what I mean by that is when the money is coming into the business, you can mask a lot of problems, you can solve a lot of problems, you can throw money at it. If there is no cash flow and you have to go out and get more clients, it's very hard, it's double whammy. So you need to be working on a reliable sales pipeline. A lot of times when we work like I do in service business and we're kind of limited by amount of staff and we can be at capacity, it's tempted to just coast and be like, we have enough clients, it's all good. But I think you still need to work on the pipeline, on wait lists, keep talking to people, keep visiting events. Because when client cancels, like say for my business, because the opportunity cost of working with an agency is so high, from the moment I talk to them to the moment I sign them, unless they're in some sort of emergency, in the best case scenario, it can be 3 months. And when the client leaves, I wanna be ahead. So sales pipeline, cash flow is king. Sales cures all. Okay, section number 2, before we jump on what to do when you lose a client, is what not to do. And I'd say number 1 is don't take it personally. And there are 2 things here. I think number 1 is if you're in business or you're in sales and marketing, you probably are an ambitious person and you like to win. So naturally you take accountability and you want to see what did I do wrong? Do we need to change our offer? Do we need to discount our services? Understand that not everything is under your control. Client can cancel for a myriad of reasons. We had a client that canceled because we were so successful, they had so much money that they built internal marketing team. So this is not the time to do soul searching. I think there is a time and a place for it that we're going to talk about in the next section, but don't do any drastic changes. Don't take it personally. Lots of reasons it can happen. Number 2 is how you talk to the client. Don't be defensive. Don't try to justify the results. Obviously, don't beg. Don't try to guilt them. Don't go on a social media and rant about what you did and how they did you wrong. Especially, if you had a toxic client and you're inclined to say, well, listen, you never listened to me. This is not a time for it. So don't take it personally. Number 2 is staff. This is the big issue, right? Because we have staff and we have revenue against them, and staff is our assets. So when the client leaves, you start thinking about what can I do with my expenses? Can I keep the staff? Do I need to fire people that work on that project? And training and hiring staff is very hard. And when you find somebody good that knows your system, knows your culture, knows how to deliver, this is your main asset that you can work with them many and many years. So before you think about firing staff, think about that. And the idea of battle chest, the runway, that's what allows you to keep them. And for everybody, cutoff is different. It will, again, differ on what the size of the clients that left. But give yourself a deadline and try and make up for the loss of revenue before you touch your main asset, which are your staff. And now we're getting to the third section, what to do when you lose the client. Number 1 is clean exit. I read somewhere clean exit is a delayed referral. And what people mean by this is when you do it professionally, when you help the client with offboarding documents, you don't hold their website hostage, you give them all of the passwords, transfer all the properties, help the new agency or internal team, you look professional, and down the road they might refer you, they might come back, you might use them as a testimonial source. So clean exit is your reputation. Make sure you show off that expertise and professionalism till the very last second. Second part of what to do is after action report. I think after action reports came from military. I read it somewhere. We've been doing them for years. This is the time and a place to reflect. Again, I don't want to be beating myself up. What I'm interested in is knowledge. So we write pretty simple after action reports. what was supposed to happen, what happened, what worked, what didn't, what can we learn for the future. If you have company-wide improvement tracker, which we do, whatever we learn for the future, you got to put it there. Maybe you need to adjust ideal customer profile, maybe you do checks early on, things like that. But you got to write it down. If you don't write it down, I feel like it's just going to happen again. Number 3 is pull data for a case study. When you do your after action report and you look at all of the data, when data is good, like for example for this client, we did increase organic sales by 60% year over year. This is something you can use. You don't have to use the name of the client. You don't have to disclose proprietary tactics, but this is true to your work. And depending on what kind of mood the client is in or what kind of state they're in, you can ask them for a referral or for testimonial down the road, maybe even video testimonial. So for example, if client did leave, like it happened with us, where we just grow them so much and they build internal team, that's a good opportunity to say, do you mind sharing that experience, giving us in video? That way you can use it to close maybe a higher paying client. So once you're done, clean exit, after action report, you pull the data, the time came to refocus your energy. And I would focus it in 2 places. Place number 1 are your existing clients. Maybe you have a backlog for some client. Maybe you neglected something. It's worthwhile to take a look, maybe set up a meeting with clients you didn't meet for a while because you were busy with this client. It helps you to help other clients. It helps you to protect whatever revenue you have. And obviously, number 2 is sales. Remember, sales cures all. So once you have that time, work on business development, work on that pipeline, evaluate if your processes of what to do before you lose the client are proper processes. So focus on that. The final step is keep in touch. There is no law that prevents you from keeping in touch with ex-clients. And by that, I don't mean send them an automatic sequence every 3 months. You guys want to come back? Do you want to buy stuff? I mean natural communication. For example, you read an article that is suitable for their business and you shoot them a quick note. Hey guys, read about this new DTC channel. Hope you guys doing well. FYI, you might follow them on LinkedIn and comment on some of their posts. Your goal is to maintain that emotional availability. So if at some point they do want to come back or they do want to refer you, you're there, they know you, and the door is open. So there you have it. That's how to lose a client in a professional way. Remember that the goal is not never to lose clients. It's just unrealistic. But the goal is to build your business in a way where you can handle it in calm manner, without chaos, without being stressed out, without firing staff. And to do that, you have to start the work before you sign the client. Thank you for watching. Until the next time.